Thank you for editing. Okay. How do you use search in reporting? Do you use it at all?
As far as like
When you're researching an article, I can imagine.
It's, for our publication, because we are so regional, it's a lot easier to, because we know a lot of people in the community, to go to them and say, well, who do you know that could help me out on this story? Or, we have a general idea, but using search as far as like Google, those kind of things, we do sometimes use Google to find, an expert or something, especially on a national level, and search as far as, we've used Help a Reporter Out and that kind of stuff too.
Yeah.
Especially if we're doing a story that affects everyone on a national level, because those are the atmospheres where we can find, an expert on healthcare reform or an expert on those kind of things. But we also, tend to look to our local community and the PR folks that know people. Because, like you said, people do business with people, so we tend to ask them as well, is there somebody that jumps out at you when I say I'm looking for somebody to write about for this story or to use as a source for this story?
So do you cultivate describe a little bit how you cultivate relationships. Obviously you make connections with agencies, but also with individual companies as well. How do you go about making those connections and so forth? And
I think key is, not necessarily, if you make the first introduction on Twitter, or you find somebody on Twitter, say, look, like, I'm a reporter for Biz Times, I do this, or it says it in my bio so people know. But then, follow up with a call or an email so that you can give an extended introduction of yourself, because, in 140 characters, what can you really say? So just
depends on how good you are.
Right, that is true. But I think making that initial introduction on Twitter or any of those social media atmospheres, especially LinkedIn, because I think a lot of businesses prefer communication over that social media realm as well. But making that introduction, but then following up with something like a phone call or an email or even coffee, setting up a coffee meeting or something, say I'd like to get to know you more and what you do for your business and those kind of things. So I think, again, taking that online relationship offline so that the relationship can develop further than just, an avatar to an avatar.
So what's appropriate in terms of, let's say I'm in charge of public relations effort at, say, Johnson Controls, and we've got a brand new product we think is going to be hot, or a service we really want to communicate about in our market space. How often do I hit you?
I think,
how do I structure that?
Yeah, I think it's it's the same as if we were at a networking event. You wouldn't come up to me and say, hey, look, like, I've never met you, but I have this really cool story to tell you. You wouldn't necessarily do that. And I think making that initial introduction, say on Twitter or via email, is, look, I work for Johnson Controls. I have, a bunch of different stories that I think you might be interested in. Maybe we should meet for coffee, or do you have time to meet for coffee? And I think setting up that initial Twitter message saying, hey, I'm gonna give you a call, or I'm gonna shoot you an email, be looking forward to it, so that I can keep my eye open, and then, it shows that you have genuine interest rather than, you're just spitting it out there to everyone, because you're reaching out to the reporter that you think is going to write the story. So
develop a relationship.
Right. And I think that it's received a lot better from, because we've talked about before that Milwaukee isn't that big. So, there's, 20 different news outlets here that could probably do something with your story. But if you're looking and you're finding me as a technology reporter at Biz Times and saying, look, I'm with Johnson Controls, I have a story that you would probably like to do, and you're reaching out to me personally with it, I'm going to expect that you're not sort of just spewing it out to everyone and saying, this is a story that, somebody should write, but you've taken time to do the research and reach out to me individually, whether it be through Twitter or via email or on the phone, saying, this is something that you'd be interested in, I'd like to talk with you further about it, let me know when you have time, kind of thing.
So what I'm hearing is that build a relationship before you need it for a product, release.
Right.
And then also just offer a little bit of selectivity or exclusivity.
Right.
Everybody wants the scoop.
Yeah, well, and that's true. And in a market like ours, it's sometimes pretty difficult to get that. So I think, taking the time and doing the research and knowing which publication is the best fit for you and for your pitch, even for your client's pitch, is going to be beneficial, because like I said, we're going to do a lot more with a pitch that's personalized to us or individualized to our publication at least than we are if it's just spewed out over whatever and everybody has it.
So do you still receive press releases?
Absolutely. And press releases really do help because I think, whether they're in, the pitch engine format where it's, more of a social media press release, which has a lot of digital content attached to it sometimes, or if it's just a regular press release sent via email, we do get mailed press releases, which I don't really like because if we do have to use it, then we have to retype the whole thing and pull off the information. And it's a lot easier to have the cut and paste information where I can be like, okay, this isn't important and important.
Make
and
your job
content,
easier.
Exactly. We've got a lot of stuff to do, but I think, having the press release with the basic information allows us to make a quick phone call and say, okay, this is the information that I need that isn't in the press release, and these are the people that I need to talk to. Versus, if we're trying to just throw this together off of, just information that we've heard, which we do, it's just not as quickly.
So basic information, we know that needs to go in a press release.
Right.
What makes a press release stand out for you? I mean, I would imagine that, give me a story, something I can take right out of the press release and almost could just plop right onto the page. Is
right.
that true?
Well, it's not about that, but I think giving us the key information so that we can follow up with a phone call and already know the information that we're looking for. If the press release doesn't say, who we're supposed to talk to, it's got to have the contact information, preferably somebody who's involved with, if it's a project or something like that, so that we know who to ask for. So we don't have to call the PR person and just be like, we need to talk to somebody about this story. If we have a name, it's a lot easier. We can say we need to talk to so-and-so and I need to talk to him by the end of the day. So, having that type of information in there and,
Again,
obviously
an expert.
Yeah.
You're looking for experts.
Right.
Okay.
Because we need to some sort of validate the story, and I think if PR people and press releases can put that in front of us and say this is the person that you need to talk to, then we can make those phone calls. And especially if the contact on the press release isn't available right then. Okay, well then we need to talk to somebody else, and I need to get a hold of so-and-so because that's the person I'm supposed to talk to for this story.
Okay.
So, having a contact person on the press release, whether it be a PR person or a media contact for that company is fine, but also giving us the name of the person that we need to talk to for this story, who is actually going to be the person that we quote, is beneficial as well, because like I said, if we can get a hold of that PR person, then we are at least know who we're supposed to talk to. So it's already giving us one step ahead of the game. So.
Right. Information and be available.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
Let's see here. What else do we have here? This is great stuff, by the way. Alysha, Alysha? What is the difference between, do you see any differences between sort of traditional press releases and new media press releases? I mean, is it effectively the same content just thought about in a slightly different way or packaged in a slightly different way?
It's packaged in a slightly different way, which is okay, because recently I've been getting pitch engine press releases actually sent to me over Twitter, which is kind of cool because I'm looking at Twitter anyways, and it's not bogging down my email, but it's, there in a little link, and it goes right to the press release and has all the information that I need. And I think with the social media press releases or the new media press releases, there's just the opportunity to attach a lot more digital content to sort of let me know that that's available if I need it, which, you can send an attachment or something with an email, but if it's a large attachment, then they may not even get to me because our email might block it. But at least it lets me know that that's available if I want that, videos and photographs and all that kind of stuff. It's there, and so it's packaged differently, but it's basically the same kind of content information, just maybe a new way of presenting it to us. And like I said, you can send it over Twitter, so
it's almost like you're sending the tip of the iceberg over Twitter, and then link here for
for everything, and then the contact information and all that kind of stuff. So.
Okay.